Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Welcome in. We've got a special presentation of Rivals.com. We're connecting with Dylan Stephenson, a Rivals 100 defensive end, outside linebacker from Miami, Florida. And guess what? He's ready to end his recruitment. Before we get into the commitment, we want to get into more of Dylan himself. The rising senior in the class of 2024 has amassed dozens of scholarship offers while at Columbus High School in South Florida. He's a state champion, as that ring is eloquently showing us here today. He's got a lot on the resume, 3.8 GPA. So let's start there, Dylan. You've got the offers, you've got the state title ring and various experiences. What has this process been like for you?
It's been a long process. I've enjoyed every step of it, but I feel like right now I've made a decision. It's time to slow things down a little bit.
Before we get into the pick, again, a little bit more on you. How do you keep everything so well-rounded? Private school, state championship, blue chip recruit, high education. How do you keep everything well-rounded and deal with the recruiting process in the meantime?
It's a lot of things to juggle, but I feel like I can thank my family and people who built me up to this point to get me to where I'm at and able to do it. I try to stay organized around with everything I got going on.
Speaking of which, a lot of programs jumped in with a scholarship offer. You've got sort of a group of finalists. We want to list several of those schools from local Miami up to Florida State, Illinois, Louisville, Auburn in there, as well as the Stanford Cardinal, where you took an official visit here recently. So truly a coast-to-coast recruitment for Dylan Stephenson. How did you whittle this thing down, not only to this half dozen, but eventually to one?
I always had my brother telling me make a framework, so I just took my time and had to check box a couple of things. I feel like every school or whatever school I chose needed to have, and the school that I chose did have that.
What were the few priority items to discover on visits, official, unofficial, whether it's just connecting with coaches? What were the real priority items for you to discover about your dream school?
Well, obviously, I've started with a good education. It's not just a 4-year decision to play football; it's a lifetime decision for the rest of my life. So that'll be a big one. Obviously, player development. I want to be able to be coached under a coach who I can trust and believe has my best interest and can get me to where I want to go. Scheme fit. I do see myself as an edge outside linebacker who could really rush the passer very well. So when you miss shot, I'm able to do that wherever I go.
One more before we get to your announcement. Dylan, you mentioned it just there. You're a defensive end, outside linebacker, kind of a hybrid, right? A lot of programs want prospects like you on their roster. What makes that skill set unique, and how have you built upon it over the last few months and years?
I really feel like that's a moneymaker nowadays. If you look in the league, there's a bunch of players like it. So, recently, Michael Parsons has been kind of taken storm by that. So I feel like over the time that I've been playing football over the past 3 or 4 or 5 years, I've been trying to just expand on that and, be seen as the apex predator of a defense. This recent spring, I've been able to play some, middle linebacker and, diversify my bag is working and dropping into coverage, playing a run from that far back. So use some skill sets that I want to add to my bag and be able to use when I go to college.
Okay, Dylan, now is the time. We know everybody clicked this link to find out where you want to play your college football. So we're going to step back. We got offers coast to coast here, all 5 Power 5 conferences. Let us take a step back, and the floor is yours. Where are you headed next year?
Well, first off, I want to give praise to the Most High and thank God for putting me in this ability to play a sport that I love and, be so good at it and excel. I also like to thank my family, coaches, teammates, and anyone involved in this process, everybody in this room. But the journey is far from over. I have a lot more stuff I need to accomplish and a lot more stuff I plan on doing. But with that being said, I'll be continuing my athletic and academic career at Stanford University.
There it is, the newest Stanford Cardinal. Wow, truly across the country, right? We talked about it. Miami native headed to Palo Alto, California for college. Dylan got to jump right into it. How did Stanford win out?
I talked about that framework, and they checked all the boxes that I had. And, I also, going on my official visit there, Coach Troy Taylor and Bobby April made me feel like it was at home.
Yeah, going into the visit, you had several others planned, so clearly you saw enough on that trip to basically shut it down. So, how do you feel to have the process behind you? You've got your colors, and you know where you're headed after high school.
It's amazing, you know. Now I could just finally, put this recruiting stuff to the side of me and focus straightly on getting ball and my senior season and even college to come.
Any message for Stanford fans out there or college football fans in general of what to expect from Dylan Stephenson here going forward?
And you're a man of character, a man who wants to work, and let's get back to smelling them roses.
There it is. Rivals 100 defensive end Dylan Stephenson off the board to the Stanford Cardinals.